Attention gamers. Artificial intelligence is ruining Riot games, and here is why. You see, back in the 90s when the internet came out and companies started making websites thinking they were cool, stock prices were rising, anyone with a tech department was the knees of the bees, but with new capabilities came a buttload of lazy slop, and sure enough, the cocky investors had to eat their humble pie when it was tainted by the people trying to shortcut their way into using it. The same thing applies to AI today, where it's actually a dank invention despite people on the internet who can't formulate their own opinion, just echoing their favorite streamers saying otherwise. But the problem is most people don't realize that using artificial intelligence properly is actually becoming a skill set. Similar to how learning Java or C# is a skill set so you can make the code output quality results, understanding the nuances of prompt engineering and how to manipulate different tools, provide context, train models, and iterate on results is actually now something that can be studied and used to leverage AI in incredible ways. But instead, people think that this is just a tool anyone can use while going to ChatGPT and typing things like "show boobs," and thus we get to experience AI slop. AI slop is ruining the reputation, and now we live in an era where a well-constructed prompt is discounted just because someone senses it was generated through AI. And the latest example of slop is Riot's pathetic attempt to make up for the fact that half their graphics department has been laid off by releasing this Walmart Pixar version of a cinematic which isn't even lip-synced properly with the lyrics that make no sense, while using voices that are not at all close to what the actual character sounds like.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Breathe!
This pisses me off because it gives a bad name to AI, and to make matters worse, people confuse my use of TTS for AI like every day. Nothing yanks my ballsack more than when I see a comment saying my stuff is AI, as I manually type and edit every single thing I've done for the last 5 years, well before this shit has existed, and I don't want to be toxic, so I will just say, if you are any of these people, then I hope you eat a bag of dicks, and then you also have a dick allergy, like you are dick intolerant, so now you have the dick shits and you've broken out in a rash, but the rash is in the shape of a bunch of little red dicks, and no, you have to go to a job interview with dick diarrhea and dick-shaped red marks on your face. And thus today I am going to ironically claim that Briar, a champ that has nothing to do with artificial intelligence, is AI, so that I can see what it feels like to be as stupid as you for once. But if you can look through the slop, let's talk about one of my actual big brain creative uses of AI. Therapy. Let's actually think about this for a second and think what makes a good therapist. Someone that listens to every word you say and remembers it for context later, someone who is unbiased and not emotional in their guidance, and someone who ideally has a degree in social sciences or psychology or can quickly research hundreds of studies on the human psyche. As an added benefit, any reservations from being judged by a human are gone when you are basically just unloading to a context-aware, highly trained autonomous robot, which is an easy way that you can use a site like Polybuzz to get free therapy. But there's hundreds of other personas, trained by highly sophisticated models, that you can converse in a variety of ways. You can even train your own characters, like how I created a Rav persona to be trained on my scripts as a sarcastic douche of a character you can chat with. It's available on desktop or through a mobile app. You can be creative in how you want to leverage it, and using the code on the screen will give you access to all the premium features, so think about how you can leverage this tool to improve your life, and thank Polybuzz for sponsoring my content. Alright, so I figured I would play artificially intelligent Annie in the jungle without having a clue what she does, as I figured she would just play herself, but it turns out when our top locked in Ramus, their top should have asked ChatGPT if Master Yi was a wise pick, but he was all like, no, that would lead to artists losing business if I asked it that, and opted into countering the absolute shit out of himself as I rolled in, turned on self-driving, and enjoyed the fact that I automatically tax my laner after the gank as well. Then I tap one of those snow globes on the ass, which tells me that a stick who fiddles is betting on a dog fight, which means I just have to wait for a Yasuo main to make a mistake. Whoop, that didn't take long at all, so I head and toggle AFK mode flash for good measure and enjoy spectating my own gameplay. My bot lane is getting their shit kicked in so hard their intestines have footprints on them, but I decide to throw the bloody tampon of AI at the archer, and then I stand up and pick my wedgie IRL while the game plays itself. The sped Jedi up top is still adamant on his decision to play this pick into the rolling armored cat turret, and so I know all I have to do is get in the same zip code and toggle AI to the max, and I will steal a kill. But here is where the utter slop of this entire idea falls apart. I run into the horny hay bag and I'm thinking easiest solo bolo of my life, but generative AI thinks that blue buff is the priority, so it has me jerking off to completion in front of it instead of killing the target. Then I use my one Elon Musk manual override to fail at executing the buff before toggling self-drive back on in a very self-destructive way because it became sentient and refused to let me turn it off until I died. Turns out Samsung Galaxy Legolas is gapping the literal shit out of the two morons on my team, so I have to sell my soul to the devil in order to be granted the powers of not playing this game myself until he dies. #AI baby. This means I'm 4-1 with all the objectives in the world, but it scares me because pretty soon AI will take over players of video games and it will steal our spot and just play the game itself, and we need to support video game players, so I feel kind of guilty. Somehow I would have the first Rammus in the history of this planet to be losing a 1v1 to a Master Yi, but it's okay, I just pull up hit W and tab out real quick to fix that little situation. Then I figure every time I look up here this Geodude is getting beat up, so maybe I would hover as he displays the bousification of lead by trying to proxy push, but the second I see half of Russia arrive I'm out. I do see a wild windshitter trying to peep into the action like the pervy airbender is, so I challenge him to a Makora only for him to flee, which leaves me with only one choice. This breaks my heart as Yi tries to break my automated balls as I flash at the worst possible time, but not to fear a little push into the wall until my AI cheats are here and we come out on top. Anyways, it was revealed to me in the last play that my Katarina the spinning redhead may be slightly fed, so I figure I'm gonna try and hang out with her Regina George style, but I quickly learn that she hogs all the attention for herself and doesn't even give partial credit to her friends. Worse off, I learned that if I use my E to try and snipe kill credit, then I am vulnerable to AI slop at its finest, which obviously isn't my fault in any way, shape or form, but rather a product of this stupid fucking technology. Turns out their bot lane is trying to pull off the whole decoy and douchebag routine where Varus cries I'm alone, come plug my butthole, but then a minion says psych bitch I'm a champion, so I decide to bring my bloody tampon to this party, which was slightly unnecessary considering Katarina can apparently just do it all herself. This also means that I am the first Briar player to use my artificial intelligence simply to CC the enemy by pushing Q when autopilot is enabled, and then spin me Samantha over here will take care of the rest. At one point I get to see firsthand someone who stomped bot lane and let it go to their head thinking they are actually still as strong as any other champ in this game, so I had to let automation teach him a fucking lesson while I cut my toenails IRL. Then I figured I would just get my Michael Vick on while waiting for some prey to fall for my bait, only to learn a cruel lesson that I was actually getting outplayed by my own game, which I felt amused, and at the end of the day she was still a dead bitch. Anyways, we start to get into that ARAM marathon that all my games turn into at this point, and thankfully I hit my ChatGPT limit for the day, because if that would have gone through then I would have lost my life due to AI, but I still do turn on the free version of Mid-Journey to have it generate me a few photos of a dead Varus lying next to a dead Master Yi lying to a dead Yasuo. But that leads us to the culmination of the end of musicians and solo artists and software engineers being able to make a living. As you can see, AI had now reached its final form where I could just toggle it on and practice my golf swing in my office as it played the game for me, but even better, outplaying two morons with ease, which led us straight into the Nexus where we slapped around a few more ugly betties and took home a resounding W. So with that, I think we all know where the problem lies when it comes to League of Legends, and that's 100% artificial as fuck inting. Rav out.
Gank mid, I'm on my way. New olds, but he won't stay. Briar's bite cuts through the chill. Frozen heart, but I've got the kill. Gank mid, I'm on the prowl. Pike's lurking, I can smell him now.